All right. So today I am doing a leader's boxing glove again. These are the Lead MEX horsehair gloves. I got these in 16 ounce. Now, don't let the Lead MEX thing kind of fool you. I think it's more because these gloves are a Mexican inspired glove because these gloves are made in Pakistan. I will say that there are aspects of the gloves that are Mexican, but I'll get to that when I get to the padding. As of the ounces, like I said, they're 16 ounces. If I did say that, maybe I didn't. You can see the tag here. I'll say 16 ounces. Small little tag, not a big deal. I weighed these gloves, and they were not 16 ounces. They are closer to actually 14 ounces, but not by much because they both came in around 14.9, 14.95. So less than 15. Closer to 14, but, obviously over an ounce underweight. That's all up to you. If you think that's not a big deal, that's not a big deal. Ounce underweight, but they're marketed as 16 ounce gloves, but they're a little light. As for the leather of the gloves, these are probably just the regular. They don't really tell you on the website, but they definitely just feel like a regular, like a Pakistan cowhide leather. It's very soft, just like a lot of the other leathers that are that come from Pakistan, and it has a decent thickness, and it has just this it's a nice plush feel. I actually enjoy the leather a lot. It definitely isn't bad. Has a very, very soft touch to it. So in terms of the leather, it's very smooth. Has some texture here, but it's probably because I've used it. And you could probably see some of the texture on top, some of the wrinkles and things like that on the glove. But ultimately, it's kind of like a nice smooth feel of the glove. So keep it that way. The liner is a polyester satin liner blend, and that's what it feels like. It feels like a very moisture wicking liner. It feels like a liner that is definitely made for, making sure when you do sweat after you're working out, the liner will do a good job with making sure your gloves don't soak too much with sweat. And I don't mind. I actually like these liners. This is a nice thick liner as well, which is surprising because some other gloves that I have that are even, polyester liners, they're very thin. This one feels very thick in quality. So just keep that in mind. In terms of the padding itself, you'll have a latex padding with a horsehair. That's why I bought these gloves, essentially, just to feel the difference. I know this was going to be like a nice, compact, slim glove. I just wanted to see how they perform with all the other, horsehair gloves that I have that are kind of in the same category in terms of size. The latex is, like I was going to say before, I did contact, I want to say the owner, or maybe the person that's, in charge of the place that sells these in New York. And she did mention that it's a latex that's a Mexican latex, and it's horsehair. So I think if anything's Mexican on the glove, it'd probably be the latex padding. But that's about it. Everything else is probably just going to be from Pakistan. So not a big deal, but I do want to say that because obviously inside of the just the name of the glove says Lead MEX Horsehair, so it kind of makes it seem like it's from Mexico. Not from Mexico, from Pakistan. So the colorway I got is the basic colorway, which is going to be the white, and you see that there's black and gold, and they also have these in black, but I chose the white. I think it's a pretty good looking glove. It's not a bad looking glove at all. I would say that the logo entirely, I don't mind this portion of it, the stitched kind of cloth badge here. I like the fact that it has that nice gold look to it, very shiny. This right here, this logo, it feels like it's going to peel soon, but not a big deal. It almost feels like a really heavy stuck on there, like a sticker almost. It almost looks like that as well. I don't know if you can notice it, but there are some bubbling portions of these things that are kind of bubbling a little bit. I'm hoping it sticks on there. So far, it hasn't started to peel or anything, but it feels like maybe that part is probably going to be the first part to go. To me, it's not a big deal, but it is what it is. As you can see, the style of thumb, like a Mexican style thumb, very, very big thumb. You see that there's a nice cool split here for a design. I'm guessing that you'll be able to design this glove whatever way you want, because I'm guessing they allow this glove to be a part of the custom line as well. You can get gloves like this from Leaders Boxing Custom, and I'm sure that you can get different colorways, but this is the base model colorway. As long as also on the palm here, you can see that it's kind of split here down the middle, which then will allow you to, I think, get two different colors. But right now it's one color, so seeing a split here is kind of funny because only one color, but and a split here is just one color. So it's kind of like I only usually see the splits here when there's two different colors or two different colors down the middle here. But in terms of this, it's just the base model, just the base colorway. The stitching of the glove, I think is really, 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 really solid. I think if anything about this glove I take away is the fact that it's nicely double stitched all the way throughout the glove, all the way throughout, and there's no real issues with the stitching. I think they did a really, really good job in terms of the stitching throughout the grip bar here, just everywhere in the glove. There is no, crazy imperfections or anything like that. So I really like that. I like the fact that, it looks very, very, very clean compared to some other gloves. Now, in terms of the kind of style of the triple cuff here, this is a triple cuff design, but I will say it's kind of a bigger triple cuff here. If you can see it here, there's kind of like a pushed out pronounced triple cuff, and then you'll get to the portion right here where it's smoother. I wish it was kind of like more flat towards this portion. I wish this part wasn't so pushed out, but it's not a huge deal. I feel like, once you cinch your laces in, it gets really, really, it depends on who you are, essentially. Once you cinch them up, it will conform to your hand and your arm very, very well, and it won't look so pronounced. But when you first put them on, my first reaction was that the wrist was very bulky because of this area right here. So if you're really looking at it, it's probably like, it's well over an inch, almost to 2 inches of padding onto the back end. Now, I wouldn't say it's the thickest, or I wouldn't say it's the firmest. I would say it's like a medium on the back, and then when you get to the inside, it's a softer foam. But ultimately, there is a ton of padding on the back. So if you are somebody who likes to, who likes a lot of protection, especially when you're blocking shots, you might have no problem with this. This might be right at your wheelhouse. So keep that in mind. I will say, the inside foam of the glove, there is a little bit of a firm density foam here, which I like. I like firm density foams here on the inner portion. I think it offers a lot of protection. You can actually see the indentation right here of this thicker foam. It's not the sorry, it's not the ultimately the thickest, but it is nice and firm, and it does do its job. So in my opinion, I think that it's a really good, inner foam for the inner palm here. I think that's very protective. So I like that. It doesn't have to be all humongous. The back portion is kind of big, but, this portion is nice and slim. So it definitely makes up for it. Now, in terms of the glove size, I will say very, very compact glove. But there is something a little different about it because it's very long. So in terms of it being, slim, yeah, it's absolutely slim. This is my hand, very slim glove. But in terms of the length of the glove, extremely long in my opinion. Probably one of the longer gloves that I have and I own. And I'll just give you like a, let me see, give you a look of a glove. I'm going to give you the Venom, the 2.0 Giant 2.0s, right? These are the Tyson versions. Now you can see the length difference, right? There is a huge length difference here. Now it is what it is, but that does exist. So this glove definitely kind of comes down a little further. It has a bigger cuff, so it will come down a little further on the arm. But ultimately, you'll see that it's longer, but it is just a slimmer glove, especially with the thumb being so flat here, and that's what it is. So if you like that, that's good. If you don't, then maybe this glove might not be for you. In terms of the laces of the glove, this is something I also really, really love about these gloves. They are extremely, extremely long, right? I'm talking about extremely long. I'm still going. So they're very, very long, and they have a nice stretch, and they have a nice thickness to it. Very, very good laces. I do appreciate these laces, and it's good because they have this nice big portion of the glove here that you probably need the laces for. And I think that's important to have that. It's, to me, it's you know, it's one of the most important things. And someone's trying to, you know, tie you up, you want to have a nice secure wrist, and I like that with the bigger laces. In terms of the grip bar, as you can see, it's probably a little bit of a smaller grip bar, and it's a little soft, medium to soft, so that's okay. In terms of the air holes, you'll see that there are a lot of air holes. There's 4 here on the bottom, there's 4 here on top, and then there's going to be, I don't know, maybe 6 on the thumb portion. So it does have a lot of ventilation on this glove, a ton of it. So I do like that about gloves. Very, very appreciative. The liner itself kind of keeps it not so hot. It's not like a tricot liner or, you know, anything like that. So it's good that, you know, it's not, I don't think it's necessarily super needed to have this many, but I do love that they do have that. So I do like that portion of the glove a lot. Now, in terms of the hand compartment of the glove and how that feels, the comfort, I am going to say when you put your hands in, it's kind of a snug fit because I got these tied up pretty solid. Like I said, these are 16 ounces and they're snug. So if you were somebody to get, you know, 14s or 12 ounces, I don't know how they'll fit. They might be tight. But so my hands in here, and obviously they're very, 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 you know, has a nice kind of cooling liner. It isn't warm or anything like that. Not too bad. In terms of the thumb, I will say that there is a thing about the thumb you should worry about, because once you actually clamp down on it, it's not pushing down the thumb too much. You could see a little bit if you could, if I close my fist, you could actually see this portion of the glove moving a little bit downward. Not a big deal, but you actually notice it right here. If you don't position your thumb properly, you're gonna have a problem, because if you put your thumb all the way to the bottom and you're trying to, you know, pushing your thumb like this way down to the bottom below your hands a little bit, your thumb is going to be right here jamming. My thumb's jamming right here. So when I do hit with the glove, I could, you know, if I'm not hitting perfect, I will jam the thumb here. Now, you could obviously make sure that doesn't happen. Make sure your thumb goes towards the top version or portion of the glove, somewhere where that's not happening. But just keep that in mind, that does happen. So just keep that in mind. Just make sure when you are punching, you're not going too crazy. Hand compartment, obviously very flat here. Has you in a punching position. As you can see, this punching position, I'm not moving anything at this point. I'm letting my hands go. And it's still in a punching position, in a flatter punching position. It has a nice flat punch surface. It's a big wide punch surface as well. You can see the fingertip compartment is nice and wide here. So there's not going to be bunching on your fingers. That's good as well. In terms of the fingertip compartment, I don't feel a secondary grip bar, and I kind of feel a little bit of the stitching. So that was a little bit disappointing, because if I push my fingers up, I could feel stitching portions here. Not a humongous deal, because it's not very uncomfortable, but I'm so used to gloves having like a secondary grip bar. You could feel the grip bar here on the palm, so slightly. I wish it was a little more firm, maybe a little bigger. But you can feel it. In terms of the punch dynamics of the glove, like I said, has a decent pop. It's a horsehair glove, you know, with latex. Now you definitely feel that. You feel it. So in my opinion, there is a little bit of a shock to it, but the funny thing is about the foam is that it's not exactly that soft. It's like a medium density to me. You know, obviously when you break gloves in, you're going to get a better, softer glove towards, you know, more and more when you use them. But I would say they're a medium. They're a nice medium. I wouldn't even say that they're bad for sparring at all. Like, these gloves don't have that feeling like I'm actually piercing my fingers through, but I do, because of the flat surface, feel a little bit of a shock on my hands when I hit them too hard. So in terms of feedback, that some people might like that. I'm getting older, so I'm getting more accustomed to more protective gloves. But, you know, in terms of these gloves, maybe when I was a little younger, I wouldn't have minded the impact on the knuckle so much. But obviously that could be supplemented with a good knuckle guard and things like that. You know, putting your hand wraps on properly, and you won't have that issue. But some people out there, obviously, you know, I'm not ignorant towards it. Some people don't use hand wraps. It is what it is. I've seen it done so many times. So I would recommend you use hand wraps, but if you don't, you know, you might feel a little bit of a shock here. No big deal. Also, so yeah, so I guess, you know, the padding is definitely a medium padding, if I were to say that. In terms of the performance of the glove, definitely a good glove. I think that, you know, it's competitive. I wouldn't say it's the greatest glove of all time, but I would say it's a pretty decent glove. I would say that it's good, obviously, on the pads, good on the mitts. The length of the glove might be something some people might not like. I don't really mind it too much. I actually put it on my hand again so people can see what it might look like on my arm. But I don't mind it too much because it looks long. But ultimately, like, you know, it's not, you know, it's like this on my arm, so it's not crazy. It's not like all the way down to my elbow, but so just so people know, obviously. And also I wanted to talk about how this is obviously these horsehair gloves, very, very good at opening and closing the palms. Very, very good for me in sparring. I love this about horsehair gloves and softer gloves. They definitely have that feel that you could actually manipulate the hands. So, I mean, that's it for me in terms of performance. In terms of the price, I would say that, you know, these gloves are $159.99, $160. They're free shipping in the US. So it depends on, you know, what's worth it for you, you know, if that's something that you really want to pay for. $160 is, in today's climate, is pretty good. And I think the glove is pretty good. I think the price is right there where it should be. I think, you know, $150 or so, it's a great glove. You could probably ask for a coupon code on top of that, and it'll make it even a better an option for people as well. So obviously there's a lot of gloves out there that kind of have the same type of profile as this one that are far more expensive, but I think this one offers you like that kind of feel of a kind of a Suvari a little bit because of the slimness and the flat punch surface, but with definitely a less price tag. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I would recommend it. You know, I wish that, you know, if I were to change one thing, I would change, like I said, this is probably a little bit too thick for me, but some people might really like that. And, you know, and that's what it is. My final thoughts on the glove. I think it's worth it. I think people should, I think Leaders Boxing is kind of one of those companies that people don't really pay too much attention to. They probably should. All right, so I want to wrap this around so I can show you guys. When it's tight, it doesn't look bad. The wrist doesn't look too massive. It has just kind of this, you know, a slimmer look. And this is good for defense, so that could be up to you guys. But, yeah, my final thoughts are, you know, good glove, you know, good price for the glove. Coupon code, even a better price. And customer service is really good, so I recommend the glove, you know.